Hi, I'm Gareth from Big Game Bikes. This is a RadRunner and we're going to be making a great deal of modifications and upgrades to this bike. I don't know if this is going to be one big video or maybe I'll break it up into smaller videos, but we're going to cover a whole variety of modifications and changes. Maybe some of those are going to be really cool and maybe there'll be something that you'll want to have a go at. But yeah, I hope you find this video interesting. Let's go. So, the first thing we're going to do is fit a Bafang Middrive motor to this RadRunner. Now, I've done a lot of research online and there seems to be quite a bit of contradictory information. A lot of people are saying that it can't be done, some people are saying that it's possible. I haven't found any evidence that it has been done. So let's try. Here we go. I just want to point out that I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail with regards to the install. There are a lot of videos online that'll show you how to install a Bafang Middrive, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing and hopefully you can follow along and we can go from Okay, there we go. Crankset's been removed, bottom bracket's been removed, controller's been removed. I'm going to give it a little bit of a tidy up underneath there. This is the 1 to 5 cable that goes up to the handlebars. So let's go, let's get this Middrive fitted. Okay, now for the test. Got ourselves a little dummy battery over there and it's all a little bit of a mess. Got our throttle and the moment of truth. Ha! It works! Hooray! Right, I'll be back in a minute. Let's finish sorting this out. Okay, so we have just successfully fitted this Middrive motor to this RadRunner. We've still got to tidy up the wiring. We need to get round to that. But the next thing on our list, some awesome new double shoulder air suspension forks, because they're amazing. They're much better quality. Obviously this RadRunner doesn't even have a suspension at the moment. So yeah, let's go. Let's get these bad boys fitted. So that's it. Front fork fitted. I've just got to tidy up the mud guard and sort that all out. But that is a super easy job. Realistically, half an hour, 45 minutes if it's the first time you're doing it. But what a difference that is going to make. Look at that tyre. Ooh, there'll be a link below for that. Okay, so for this part of the build, we're going to be fitting a second battery to this RadRunner. Just so you know, I've fitted 3 batteries to a RadRunner in the past. You've got your primary battery, your secondary battery underneath the rear passenger seat, and you can fit a third battery on this down tube over here. But today I'm just going to show you how I fit a second battery underneath the rear passenger seat. Let's go. So some of the things you're going to need is obviously a second battery. This customer has a RAD battery. So we've got the RAD battery tray. And then what I also use is I use this machined aluminium plate. And what this is going to do is it's going to help give this tray some extra rigidity. If you don't use something like this, what can happen is the tray can bend very gently, ever so slightly, when you mount it at the back. And then of course when you go to slot the battery in, the battery's just not going to slot in very nicely. It also just helps give the tray some extra strength. Okay, so I've removed the passenger seat from the back of this RadRunner. Now what we need to do is we need to figure out how we're going to mount this battery. So if you get the battery tray, something like that, and I tend to put the power end towards that side just because it makes wiring everything up a little easier. Pop that underneath. Now we can see roughly where the battery is going to sit. Now if you can see towards the right hand side of the screen, the battery tray is flopping around quite a bit. So all of our mounting points are here, and there aren't very many mounting points over there. So this is where that aluminium tray is going to help us offer some extra rigidity, and I'm going to show you the other things that I do to get this fitted. So what I use is I use one of these wood joining plates, and what this is going to do is it's going to give me an extra connection point where we've got this void. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to very, very carefully make some measurements. Remember, measure twice, cut once, make some holes, get this fitted, get the aluminium tray fitted, and I'm just going to show you how I'm doing all of that. So what I want to do now is I'm happy that this is pretty much where it needs to be. So I'm just going to get some zip ties and hold it in place while I triple check these measurements, because of course once you've drilled a hole, you can't undrill a hole. Perfect. Okay, so I'm temporarily holding these 2 braces in place with cable ties, with some zip ties. I've got the aluminium brace running across the frame. We've got 1 bolt holding it to the bike. Eventually we'll have 4, so there'll be 5 points of contact holding the battery in place. This aluminium brace is going to give the battery some good rigidity, so that's good. And what I did do off camera is obviously I mounted the battery underneath to make sure that we can slide it forward to take the battery out so that we can charge it. In my first set of measurements I had this whole structure too far to the left, so it was knocking on the light at the back, so I couldn't get that out. So that's where we're at now. These are the bolts that I used. These are M550mm bolts, and you'll notice this really shallow head, and that's because if we come underneath, where is it? Hopefully you can just about make that out. We need these to be flush with the battery tray. Hang on, let me get another battery tray. Okay, here's another battery tray. So we need these 50mm coach bolts, because when they slot in, do you see? They clear here. If the bolt is sticking up like that, then when you go to slide the battery on, the battery won't slide on. Perfect. Okay, so we're all done. I've temporarily left these cable ties in place because I don't have time this morning to finish this job, but I need to finish this video for you guys. So there you have it. The battery is in place. There's plenty of room by the rear light to get the battery in and out. Just a smidge of clearance above the rear mudguard, so that's great. Obviously, if you had a bigger battery, you can put a spacer on the mudguard to lower the mudguard a little bit, and that can accommodate, for example, a 17.5 amp hour battery. But there you go. That's how you fit a second battery under the rear passenger seat on a RadRunner. Awesome, so we're all done. We fitted the Middrive, we fitted a second battery, we fitted the double shoulder air suspension, we fitted the motorcycle headlight. Enough talking, let's have a look around. So as you can see, there is the Middrive, and what you'll notice is this is only on a single speed RadRunner. Obviously, if you've got a 7-speed RadRunner, you're going to be able to leverage those gears with the Middrive. New brake rotor on the back, that was a little bit worn. We've got our second battery up there. And what I've done is I've put this 35 amp controller bag on because the RAD controller is in there. So we can still use the RAD motor, not that we probably ever will. All the wiring is neatly hidden in there. And then if we come up to the handlebars, we've got our RAD electrical system. We've got our Middrive electrical system. And there you have it. If we come round to the front, we've got our motorcycle headlight, a double shoulder air suspension. Look at these tyres. Don't even know what to make of them. Brilliant. And there you go.